My name is Julie Ann Link, and welcome to the Music Link. This week on the Let's Link project, I'd like to welcome bassoonist and contrabassoonist Marina Trevino. Thank you so much for being here, Ara.
Hi, Julie. My pleasure to be here. This is a very important platform to be with and show the world of bassooning. So this is great. Thank you for inviting me, actually.
For everybody watching, Ara and I met on the Music Link. So just to dive in, Ara, could you please share with us an overview of who you are and what you do as a professional musician?
Sure. Well, I am a freelance bassoonist. I'm contrabassoonist. I play mainly here where I live in the Southwest Texas area. I am also a music teacher. I work for the public education as a music teacher. I've been in the elementary, secondary levels of music education, and also, of course, in high levels of education. I worked in the past as an adjunct bassoonist teacher in a couple of universities. And right now I'm just working in the public education system. I also worked in the past in Venezuela with a Sistema. I worked for Maestro Abreu, who invited me to be the director of a conservatory over there in Valencia, Carabobo. I also worked for the Bassoon Latin America Academy as a bassoon teacher and as a manager of international affairs, and until I came back to the United States in 2013 and started my career as a music teacher. Yes, that's what I do professionally, yes.
Wonderful. Could you tell us a bit more about where you grew up?
Right, so my native country is Venezuela. Venezuela is in South America, and over there is also the home of El Sistema, which is international renowned now music program in which, of course, I was lucky to participate and grew up as a musician. Yes, Venezuela, unfortunately, nowadays is not a good place, but that's another story. But when I was there, when I was growing up, it was wonderful. I had the opportunity to meet my maestros in bassoon over there, participate with Maestro Abreu in the growing of El Sistema. And that was wonderful. That definitely changed the course of my life. And here I am as a musician, bassoonist, and that's wonderful for me. Yes.
Could you tell us a bit more about your introduction to music through El Sistema and getting to play the bassoon and the contrabassoon?
Very good. Yes. Okay. So in the little town that I was born and growing, El Sistema, of course, reached out. My teacher, my music teacher at the school, happened to be now the director of El Núcleo, where El Sistema started in there. Puerto Cabello is the place where I was born. And then she invited us to participate. Of course, I was reluctantly about that, even though everybody went to play with her in the orchestra. I also went. I didn't even know what to do. I just want to be there to see what's going on. And she talked to me and say, okay, let me see, you are good for bassoon. Actually, I need a bassoonist right now. I didn't even know what a bassoon was at that time. I was okay, whatever. And then she said, your hands are perfect. You have long fingers for that. And then they brought me an old bassoon, smelly bassoon that, I don't know, it seems like it was over somewhere in, they took it, and I remember being very old and very smelly. And I was like, okay, that's what I'm going to play. And then he said, yeah, tomorrow the teacher is coming, so it would be great if you show up tomorrow. So the next day, of course, my very first teacher, his name was Ruben Osher. I remember him with much love because he introduced me to the bassoon. And like I said, even though I wasn't sure that what the bassoon was, he was the one who played it for me. And I remember him playing a Vivaldi concerto because I told him I don't know the instrument, I don't even know how it sounds. And he said, okay, let me play something for you, like, you know. And then that was a great beginning for me. Since that day, I was hooked to the bassoon. I wasn't expecting that instrument to sound that beautiful. That sound stayed with me till today. And yeah, since that very first day, I started practicing and using my instrument, looking forward for the next class because that I wanted to be like my first teacher, the way, at least the way he was playing for me. That was a great thing that happened to me. Yes.
And how did you start playing the contrabassoon?
Oh, the contrabassoon is, I always wanted to have a contrabassoon. The I know it was like a mystery for me, the sound. I wanted to get into that deep sound of the instrument. And when I started playing professionally, it was always the sound of the contrabassoon who would be staying in my ears because it's so important for the color of the music that is being performed. So I, of course, wanted to have a contrabassoon sometimes. And when I had the opportunity to buy one, that's how I started. I started taking lessons with the contrabassoonists of San Antonio Symphony. And then, yeah, from there on, I started playing the contrabassoon professionally. And now I'm working with Margaret Phillips. She's a teacher at the Boston University. Even though we haven't started with the contrabassoon, we will soon. And I'm looking forward for those lessons because I really love the contrabassoon, the sound, the deepness of the low register and how it matches the orchestra, not only the rest of the, the bassoon players, but also the rest of the orchestra. So the contrabassoon is a great instrument and I love it, yes.
Do any of your family members have a musical background that you could share with us about?
Well, yes, I actually, my family is a family of musicians, even though it's in the popular music field. My dad was known as this guy who will be singing all the time and giving serenades to girls. That's what my mom said. And then everybody knew him as the singer. So when he went to the military, he was drafted to the military. That's what he was going to do, being the musician. And then, of course, he went to the school. He learned to play a couple of instruments. He was a tuba player, and he was also a percussionist. And then he ended up playing for the band. It's like the Navy of Venezuela. He was playing in the band. And I remember every Sunday he would play uh, in the square and publicly, and we all will go and enjoy. I remember playing around him, his instruments and his big tuba. And of course, in my family also, being Latina, we also have gatherings with no specific motive or something to celebrate. You just get together and cook and sing, and those were those times that my dad was always singing and improvising and playing in his guitar. So yeah, even though it wasn't a classical regular formation in my family, I always had that, and that always were with me. And when I started in the Sistema, I knew I have the back of my dad. When I told him this is what I'm going to do as a musician, my mom was, doubtful, like you were going to the university to do a real career, and now you're doing music. And my dad was, yes, I'm so happy for you, go for it. So I knew my dad would be in my side, and that was great. Yes, my family, everybody know it in the place where we're living, all the musicians, you know. So it wasn't, it was, for them, it wasn't any different that or something different that I want to be a musician. Everybody was, of course, she is following the step of her dad. So yes.
So did you always know that you wanted to go into music as a career?
Well, yes and no. When I found music through El Sistema, of course, yes.
Mm.
When El Sistema, and I will have time to talk about El Sistema later, is this amazing music program that influenced your life. It changed your perception of everything, actually. So when I found music, I found something that I couldn't escape from, which is being a musician. This world in which you belong to something is gives you that force to keep going, to be better every day. So when I found music through El Sistema, I knew I was going to be a musician, a performer, a bassoonist. This is my life. This is what I'm going to do the rest of my life. Yes. Of course, throughout my career as a bassoonist, I done other things, but always with music. But music is yeah, I couldn't do other things. Of course, if you have to, you will. But music is what I knew since early, when I was a teenager, when I started in El Sistema. Uh, I knew this is my life. Yes.
Aura, could you tell us about where you went to college?
Okay, yes. Well, with music, I started again in El Sistema. I went for 5 years to El Conservatorio, the conservatory, Simon Bolivar Conservatory, well, where all the musicians of El Sistema will go through for training. But as you know, El Sistema main way of teaching is through orchestra, through rehearsals, through working as a group. They call it the integral education, right? But yeah, but at the same time, of course, you have to go to the conservatory, you go through theory, you go through weekly lessons with your teacher. So after that, there was actually, when I was there was no music performance as a career, just through the conservatory. So I knew I needed to leave Venezuela, because if I wanted a credential, a university credential, I needed to leave. Actually, I didn't know where to go. It happened that the Simon Bolivar was in a tour in Europe when I decided to stay in England. I stayed in England. I didn't even know English at all. But I had a friend who was there who said, "You are welcome in my place." And only that she said that, I say, "Of course, I'll stay. I want to do something with music." So over there, I had the opportunity to do auditions with Mr. Waterhouse. I auditioned for him, and I explained to him, this is what I'm looking for. I'd like to, to further my career. And he recommended me to the Royal Academy of Music, which I went to. And over there, they accepted me to do a diploma, an advanced studies diploma. And I also did several tests that they do for teaching license. So I was able to do that in England. And then I went back to Venezuela, started working again with El Sistema, with the orchestra. We did several recordings. We went tour. But it wasn't enough. I wanted to do somewhere else. So that's when I decided to come to the United States. I applied for University of Miami. And for the master degree, they accepted the, what I have done in England as a bachelor degree. And yes, I did my master degree in performance, bassoon performance with Maestro Magnanini over there for 3 years. And since then, I stay in the United States. Later, I went to Boston University. I did doctoral studies for 3 years. Um, I did everything except the dissertation. Unfortunately, things happened. I went to Venezuela for 7 years. When I came back, I was unable to finish. And guess what? For the last the last semester, I'm finally back to Boston University to really finish my degree as a DMA degree, as a doctoral. And that's what I'm working on actually right now. Next semester, I will be in Boston. I have to do a couple of recitals and take my qualifying examination. Hopefully, everything will be fine. And yes, hopefully at the end of the spring, the latest, I will. Yeah,
Yeah.
finally. Yes. So yeah, those are the universities that I've been working on, which I've been blessed to find very good people, very good teachers who guide me through this challenging process of being a professional bassoonist. Yes.
Aura, could you tell us more about your teachers and how they influenced you?
Yes, very good. It's funny. I just was mentioning and remembering my teachers. All my bassoon teachers were fantastic. They were always very inspirational for me. They always had something different to teach me, especially uh, read-wise, because I came from Venezuela with this concept of making reeds. In Venezuela at that time, the influence was more European influence, the big read from the German school.
Mm.
And then I come to America, the United States, and the concepts are different. And you don't find one way to do it. There's so many ways to make reads. And I knew I like it because um, yeah, you have options, but now you have to change a lot of things, and that is a big process and a slow process to go through. Yes, I was Mr. Magnanini, despite of the fact that he was Italian, he was playing with reeds that were very much in the style of not Italian, really. He was playing with these reeds that were, he used to say, this is a mix, but they were a little bit, how can I put it? Softer than what I was used to.
Uh-huh.
But it worked for him and I wanted to. So I was in the search for a new reed. Like I said, it was a process. When I arrived in Boston, my first teacher there was Svoboda, Richard Svoboda. And the concept of reed, wow, he had this reed that are very easy to play, very, very, very extremely soft. But again, he's able to play amazing with those. And I want to play like that. So again, changing the process. Uh, and it has been, I don't know if it's for everybody, but it has been the story of my life, always trying to find the right read. I think is crazy, because again, it depends on what for everybody works. And for Mr. Svoboda, it's great for the reads, but I swear I could never play with that. I could play some, but no in every register, and play very secure, because you're a bassoonist. So it's always that search for the reed that works for you, that is not too soft, that is not too hard. That's what I remember the most from my teachers, struggling with reeds, but and listening to their advices, and they were great advices. But interesting enough, I found more influence on me from teachers in other fields, like in El Sistema, for example. Like I mentioned before, the education is more through orchestra rehearsals, and your mind is open to everything that because you want to learn from everybody. And then what the good conductors will tell you. I was always paying much attention to what they said, especially Maestro Abreu. He was this visionary man that he knew very much about music. I always learned very much about with the conductors. Again, maybe because my education was influenced by the rehearsal and the formation inside the orchestra by making music in the spot. That always inspired me again to search about the composers, the music that I'm playing, and learning is power, you know, so it enrich you much more. And then I also remember very much my very first teacher in El Sistema, which is Teresa Hernandez. She was a real mentor. She was a clear guidance for me throughout all my life as a musician. When I went back to Venezuela, I will always look for her because she was more than a mentor for me. Yeah, and she was a conductor, but she happens to be my friend, too, a very, very close friend. So she has a very special place in my heart because she was a clear guidance for me throughout my career as a musician. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. So yeah, those are my teachers.
Are there any tips or advice that you could share with us about what you've learned about the music industry since working professionally?
Well, yes. Let me see. For the young musicians who are studying, um, the I think the prime advice is that you keep practicing your fundamentals. You know, I mean, this is an advice that it has to do more as a performer, but it is fundamental that you have your fundamentals in place. Is that what is going to allow you to be a better musician? Be aware of what you want to express with your instrument. Be aware that it's not only physical but emotional and very spiritual what you're doing with your instrument. So you need to really find your voice with it. And yeah, I always thought about your sound. Your sound is so personal, so your identity out there. So pay attention to those things: sound, um, fundamentals in, of course, uh, your scales, your technique, and that is going to keep you up to date with anything that comes to you, auditions, um, concertos. I mean, you know, recitals, and in the orchestra when you perform. When you have those up to date, you are able to face all the challenges that you are going to have there. So don't don't forget that, because it's easy with so much music and so much to do in college, and um, responsibilities that you get when you play, that you forget of those because you are more focused on what you know, the music itself, the performing of the moment of the performance. But yeah, the tip is that I like to give is that it sounds you know, maybe too simple, but it is like that. Keep your options open.
Mm-hmm.
uh, Being a bassoonist is also being a musician, and with music is so big. You have the opportunity to do music in so many ways, and experience music in so many ways. So keep your options open. Don't get down because I didn't did this audition, I didn't pass it. Don't be comparing yourself with others. Um, again, the best advice that I can give you is keep your fundamentals and keep your options open. Be a musician, a bassoonist that is a musician. Yes.
Ara, did you ever consider changing careers outside of music?
Outside, I always ask I always ask that question to myself. If I wouldn't be a musician, what I would do?
Mm.
I, because honestly, when being a musician, you probably are not going to be a rich person. Yes, you're just going to be a musician, a happy soul. But being rich is going to be very difficult. So sometimes in the past, I used to ask myself, maybe I should be doing something else too, because honestly, I like money. Who doesn't? I like to have money. So yes, I thought about that, but no, I don't have the courage to leave music and do something different. Music gives you that uh, necessity also of giving.
Mhm.
I learned that being in the music education field, um, music education, you are no longer just a performer, but you are somebody who is guiding kids, especially. And it's a big responsibility. Uh, when I was teaching at the elementary level, it was crazy because you get there and then there are the kids in front of you looking at you with their eyes open. Give me something, give
Mhm.
me something. They know they like music, and then they want to know about music. And of course, they are young people. You are not teaching them instruments or anything, but you are talking in general about music. And it's incredible the hunger for learning about music. That is, of course, in general talking. But yeah, you learn that, wow, music is a given. And you have the power to pass that along because somehow you learn about music. And there's that connection that needs to be given away with other people who come behind you. So, and that's what I meant also when I say keep your options open, because you are already musician in your soul,
Mm.
and that's the power of music. That's what music does to all of us, independently of you are going to be a great composer, a great performer, a conductor, or simply somebody who likes music. Is that uh, empowerment that music gives to your soul and connects us, all of us as humans. That's what I wanted to say. Yes.
And finally, Aura, could you share with us any important skills through music that we learn that apply to everyday life?
Okay. Yes, is actually what we were just talking about. The very first one that I can talk about is the fact that you become more aware of people around you. That we are all humans and we are all in this community. You learn how to be more empathetic. You learn how to be um, more, uh, you are part of this community in which you can change stuff for the good. You are part of something bigger than yourself. And music teaches you how to be a teamwork. Being just that skill that prepares you to work anywhere, because you need to really have that when you go to work, even if it's not in music field, in any field. You need to be able to relate to people and be a leader. for the change of things that you need to change. You need to participate with the rest of the world to be part of the world. So music have that capacity. It teaches you that, especially when you work, when you have the experience of working in an orchestra. We make music together. We put all the sounds together. Everybody is part of the game. And you learn that just by doing that. So when you are in the everyday world, that's how you are going to act. And that's why it's so important for kids to have that experience, to not only experience music, but to play music, to have an instrument, to have that experience of making sounds at the same time as other human beings. It's just amazing what that can do. So, yeah, that is one of the things that you learn, skills that you learn with music that you can apply to your everyday life.
I love that you brought up teamwork too, where it's like in music, nobody can practice for you. So you have to, do it. You do have to learn that kind of, self responsibility, but then putting it within the group and you get to see what the work that you've done does for the greater good.
Exactly, and then relate to other people, be compassionate, be human, be again, I sound repetitive, but yeah, be part of the whole and do your part. That's what we do in the orchestra. That's what we do when we play. I mean, you enjoy it because you're a musician, but that's actually what you're doing, giving from your soul. I don't know, I sound like a guru, but but
It's
but yes,
beautiful.
that's how I feel music. That's how I feel uh, the power of it. That it really put us all together in
Mhm.
one ethereal world that you don't see it, but it exists. We all know that it exists and makes us all together. Yes.
Well, Aura, thank you so much for your time and the opportunity to interview you. And it's just wonderful to get a glimpse into your life and career as a professional musician. So thank you.
No, thank you again. This platform that you serve to us is wonderful. We learn so much about each other. The community of Bassoonists is a unique one, and then the opportunity to express feelings and express about our careers and again to how it relates to each other is just wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes.
For everyone tuning in, keep an eye out for 2 events held every week on the Music Link. So every Thursday Central Daylight Time, a new YouTube interview launches, and every Sunday Central Daylight Time is a live Zoom group discussion session with great new guests every week that you can register for on the website. So check out Ara's group hosting session coming up this Sunday, where she's sharing about El Sistema and its impact on the world of music, its transformative mission, and the great benefits that young children receive. What it means to adapt to what you have in music, all about what integral music education is, what music education is like in Venezuela, America, and the United Kingdom, women in the field of performing, perceptions of Latinas in their role as professionals, and so much more. You can find out about Ara and her work on her website at aratrevino.com and feel free to reach out to her on the contact page. She would love to hear from you. Please like, comment, and share any questions or feedback in the section below, and we'd be happy to incorporate these in the group discussion. Please subscribe to this channel and turn on the bell for notifications, which really helps keep the Music Link moving forward. Check out the Instagram and Facebook pages too for more information. The Music Link is a New Zealand-based resource for people around the world to share, learn, and connect through music. Thank you for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next video.